What's good people, and welcome back to the channel here on Blu-ray Productions. My name is BK, and this is the Silly, Nerdy, and Wordy podcast. And this is a nerdy note about Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning, the 8th film in the franchise. I'm going to be going into detail about a nerdy note. And my information comes today directly from the Blu-ray of Mission Impossible 8. And what I'm going to be talking to you today is specifically the final action sequence in Mission Impossible 8, where Ethan Hunt and the character Gabriel are in the plane chase at the end at those high altitudes, and what went into that particular sequence. So that is what I'm going to be talking to you about today. So getting right into it, they started the prep for this sequence at Duxford Airfield Base in the United Kingdom. And one of the things they had to do specifically about the yellow plane, because you see at the end of the movie, there is a yellow and a red plane. Gabriel's in the red plane. Ethan Hunt is ultimately in that yellow plane before he jumps onto the red plane. And they had to reinforce that plane for Tom Cruise. Reinforce meaning redesign, reskin, repaint to support the structure of Tom Cruise to be on that wing of the plane, to hold his weight, to be able to move the way he was moving in that film and the part of the sequence. Also, the camera rigs that they initially had to go on the plane, they were not able to be used. So they had to build the camera rigs from scratch to be able to endure the stress and rigors of the plane, to be in the high altitudes that they were going to be in addition to just filming it as well. Then when it came to getting to the actual filming location of where this sequence was going to take place, which was ultimately Drakensberg, South Africa, they then were able to start choreographing the flight sequence of this action sequence of this plane chase. And one of the things that they had to do was, and typically what you would do is you would go through the pre-visualization process with an action sequence, whether it's a team of stunt performers in a room going through different fight action sequences, or with a car or whatever it would be. In this case, it's a plane. They went through that, but what they're doing, as they said, has never been done before, and it can't account for the physics of a human being up in those high altitudes on a wing of a plane. And so something that probably not many directors do. The director of this film, his name is Christopher McQuarrie. He's directed a couple of these Mission Impossible films, so he has a great working relationship with Tom Cruise. And what he did, he went up into those high altitudes and had the wires attached to him and got on the wing of the plane and kind of did a little bit of the movement of what Tom Cruise was going to be doing, just to see what is possible. So that's very unique that the director himself goes up there and does that, at least unique from my normal fan perspective. And then once he got back down to the ground, then they could really get into the planning and choreographing of this and storyboarding of this particular sequence. And also the moves that they wanted to do, specifically Tom Cruise wanted to do, he said that he wanted to do a roll, a loop, and a hammerhead in terms of the moves of the actual airplane. And that's something most likely that a skilled, a trained, and a licensed pilot is able to do. And those are most likely the moves that we saw at the end of the movie with those planes. They also had drills done every morning during the filming part of this filming process of this sequence, in case what to do in case of an emergency. And then also in the second act of this flight sequence, there is a risk of hypothermia that Tom Cruise was at risk for, increasing the high altitudes as the plane kept going high up. So that is something that was also taken in effect. But of course, Tom Cruise has learned to fly. He's done a lot of these things, and a lot of prep has gone into all of these things in all the previous films. So that is just some of the things that went into what we see in the final sequence of the Mission Impossible Final Reckoning in terms of that plane sequence at the end of the film. So that's all it's going to be for today. Now, I did see this film back in May of this year in theaters. I saw it twice, and I did do an episode on it. That is episode 65. I will link that in the description, and I have a playlist of the shorts that I did from this episode as well, so you can check that out. And hope you learned something. Hope you got something out of it. That's all it's going to be for now. So subscribe to the channel here. Follow me on TikTok at NerdyPodcaster124, as well as the podcast is available wherever you get your podcasts. Just search for the Silly, Nerdy, and Wordy podcast. And until next time, we will talk soon.